Hi guys, my name is Pranita Rao. I am an intuitive abstract artist and an energy worker. Today we are going to talk about how angels help us connect with plants, the nature, and also snail guides. Now you might be wondering, that is so unique. How does Pranita know about snail guides? What are they? Well, we'll come to that in a minute. Before that, I'd like to share that if you're watching this video, you might be interested in learning about angels, guides, or the nature, and how wonderful that is that you're open to such creations. And you must know that this video could help you learn about angels yourself, snails, and the nature a little bit more than you did before. And so I would like to encourage you to watch this video until the end. Now, angels came into my life in the year 2020 when I had a massive spiritual awakening. And since then, I have been speaking to angels, communicating with them, learning about them, and now teaching about them. Now, who are angels, right? Like, we're talking about angels, but what are they? Are they energy? Are they real human beings? Are they dead people who have come back and are presenting themselves as angels? Who are angels? Like, there's so much mystery around angels. Well, my understanding and experience says that angels are energetic beings. I perceive them as energetic beings, and they are beings who protect us, guide us, inform us, teach us, and help us manifest material blessings as well. Now, angels uh, are not dead people. Dead people are dead people. They aren't angels, although they might have really positive wishes for us and would like us to um, sort of have good lives if they are our grandparents who have passed away, or our uncles or whoever. Um, but there are also bad spirits who are revengeful and seek to harm human beings. But that's not what this video is about. The point I would like to mention here that is that angels are not sources of energies, or angels are not beings who have ever sort of taken a human incarnation, uh, mostly. Although there is a lot of um, biblical reference about saints who have become angels. One of them is Archangel Michael, who is mentioned in the biblical text as a warrior in human form, as a saint, but we don't know much about it. We don't really know if Archangel Michael or any other angel has really existed on this planet as a human being. But my understanding is that they haven't. Especially our guardian angels, they wouldn't have had a human incarnation. Now, sorry about that. Now, why do angels like nature and connecting people to nature? Well, the honest truth is, we open up more to angels when we are closer to nature. For example, I used to get a lot of angelic information and still do, which sometimes is very difficult to perceive and understand because I stay in an apartment which is closed. The energy keeps changing within the apartment. I don't stay by myself, there are other people living here. So the energy keeps sort of changing according to everybody's thoughts, emotions, and just challenges that one faces on a day-to-day basis. So when you're receptive of all of that energy in the house, it can be difficult to perceive angelic messages. So what do? You step out in nature. And that's what I began doing. And when I did, I realized that I was easily connecting to my angels, and they were able to help me, and they were able to soothe me, help me relax even. It's got various benefits. um, I found snails in nature when I was attempting to connect with my angels. And snails have been a part of my life for the past one and a half year almost now. And I have spent a lot of time observing them, talking to them telepathically or psychically, and giving them um, sort of um, information about human beings and receiving information about snails, but in a way, it teaches me about my human life. Snails are actually here to protect us, help us evolve, and also help us learn about our challenges. And you might wonder as to how is that even possible? How does a snail teach you? Well, you might be really surprised as to what the snail world has in store for humans, because when we get close to a snail, they are not just beings that are crawling on our hands or anything of that sort. But in reality, there are a lot of angels that look after snails, that connect to human beings through snails. In fact, if you are somebody who has been working with angels or guides, you can go out in nature, and if you have access to snails, you can go close to them and call upon your angels and see if you feel a difference in the type of angelic messages you get, because I assure you there would be some difference. We just haven't tapped into the sort of impact snails can have on human evolution. We are sort of not even recognizing snails as a part of the animal kingdom. Um, we still think they are reptiles. They are not reptiles. They are actually from a class of species called gastropods or mollusks, and both of which are their scientific groups. And we're still at a phase where, and when I say we, I say humanity as a collective being, that we're still at a point where we are scared of snails because we don't know much about it, or because they are slow, or because they are small, or because they have slime and they can like stick on us, or because they destroy our gardens, which is true and that can be frustrating. But there is so much more to snails. And you would only understand that if you spend time with a snail. And I encourage you to do that, because it's if you're somebody who's highly sensitive or sensitive, which I imagine you could be if you're watching this video, and if you're open to angelic communication, uh, snails can really help us relax. Their presence is so soothing that our energy body gets nourishment. We are grounded, and more importantly, we feel like we can sort of get out from a place of overwhelm that we normally are in if we are having a really hectic day and we are stimulated. Snails can really help us get out of that phase and help us tap into our energy and protect our energy even. I find their presence very protective. Again, it could be because of the angelic connection I have, that is built when a snail is close to me. But also, snails are very friendly and they're very loving if you are energetically sensitive. And if you allow a snail to crawl on your hand or your palm, you will feel as though they respond to your energy and they respond to what you talk to them. For example, yesterday I told a snail I love you, and it sort of responded back with its energy. Isn't that majestic when you're sort of expressing love to a being like a snail and it responds back? It's a massive sort of assurance in just love, and in the majesty of this universe. So, if you are somebody who sort of perceives the world in a very different way, especially if you're somebody who has connection with the angels, and you tend to look at the world with a very different lens, as though every single person, a source of being, source of energy, is nothing but love, and also important. Because that's one of the biggest learnings I've had while spending time with snails, is that every being is important, regardless of their pace and their size. Also, it's so wonderful to have snails as friends if you're sensitive or highly sensitive, because I am somebody who's a high achiever, who has really high ambitions in life, and which is great. I mean, I love being ambitious. But because I'm highly sensitive, there have been periods in my life which have been very slow, and I hated it. And I still hate that I was that slow. And I hate that there are points in my week where I have no choice but to slow down, because my personality is of a person who likes to run in life, likes speed, and enjoys being fast. But unfortunately, I think when you're highly sensitive, there are so many challenges that you can come across um, that sort of slow you down. And snails have really made me appreciate my pace, and they have helped me realize that I need to love myself and approve of myself regardless of my space, exactly how a snail does. We don't see snails criticizing themselves for being slow, do we? So, similarly, snails teach us to respect our pace and to respect the pace we are following each day. And that's wonderful that a being like a snail is teaching a human being something about pace, wherein the entire human race almost, I don't want to generalize, but we sort of criticize snails for being slow. Um, so yeah, I this is how I perceive snails. This is how I look at them. This has been my experience, and I have been told by my angels that there are many people in the world, around the world, who perceive snails like I do. And this is because it's not a random occurrence. I believe very strongly that there is a realm called, it's not a realm, but a constellation called Pegasus. I don't know how familiar y'all are with the term Pegasians. Again, Pegasus is a angelic being, a type of an angel who resides in this constellation called Pegasus. Sorry, not Pegasus. It's sort of a it's sort of a it's not a different realm, but they're part of the angelic realm, but they come from a constellation, wherein these angelic beings, are solely created for humanity to connect with true love, and the true essence of love. And I believe quite strongly that snails are extremely connected to the Pegasus constellation and the angels who fall under the category of Pegasus. And people, human beings who are sort of really prone to the angel Pegasus, can connect with snails easily, is my uh, intuition and belief that they would be more sort of open to snails, because Pegasus is the commonality between that human being and the snail. For example, I am very connected to my Pegasian guide. Her name is Peggy. Hi, Peggy. If you're here, she must be here because I've just taken her name, and that's what angels do, right? When you talk about them, they just appear. But the point being that it's not that there is nobody else. If you decide today that, hey, I saw a snail, I'm going to go and spend time with the snail. Oh, but there's nobody else doing some stuff like this. Am I weird? Am I strange? I mean, if thoughts like that come to your mind, which is quite natural because I used to have them when I first started playing with snails, you it might be sort of useful to remind yourself that you're not alone, and that if you have an inclination towards snails, it's not random. You could have picked any other animal, but you picked snails, or a snail, and that's not random, and that's beautiful. I can feel my heart sort of expanding while I'm talking about snails, but I know, I like, my heart knows that there are so many people who are gifted, who perceive snails like I do, or just differently. And again, you don't have to sort of give it the a meaning like I give it, but you can have your own meaning. For example, I find friendship to be a very important aspect of my relationship with snails and the angels. So for you, it could be something else. It could be relaxation, inspiration. It could be creativity. Who knows? Depends on how you perceive them, right? So I really hope that after this video, if you have been having thoughts about snails or communicating with snails or angels, your perception changes at least slightly towards either of them or both of them. Now, we're almost at the end of this video. We've come to the end of this video. I would like to invite you to join me in my space. It's called the Muddy Space. I have a space for snail lovers, spiritual seekers, and sensitive souls. I blog about snails every week, wherein I talk about their science, the research around scientific research around snails. They are my communication and stories about what I have received from snails every week, pictures of snails in real time, and also about angels. For example, this week I've shared a story about how Archangel Ariel uh, helped me communicate with a snail, and how they taught me to uh, remember and remind myself that I am trusted as a person, because I was having doubts about myself in relation to some business tasks and how they were being perceived by the world. And the snails really stepped up and they told me something that really helped me accept myself and helped me feel touched. So I invite you to the Muddy Space, and I hope you get to see my blog. The blog is called the Snail Mindset, which I'm very excited about, and I hope you subscribe to it because you'll get weekly information. And if you're somebody who's looking for support with their gifts, whether it's their psychic gifts, intuitive gifts, or gifts related to your um, animal communication, do or snail communication rather, do check out my services page on my website. The link for my website is in the description, and I hope to hear from you via email, and I'd be glad to take a free clarity call for you to know if I can help you. Uh, I'm just thinking if I've. Yes, I did introduce myself, but for what it's worth, I'm Pranita Rao. I am an intuitive abstract artist and an energy worker. I have 5 years of experience working with angels, and I love people, and I'm an extrovert. I bet I did not mention that in the beginning. So that's about me, and I hope to know about you and see you around. And if you are already having snails as a part of your life or angels as a part of your life, I wish you nothing but happiness. in your journey. Thank you. Bye.